Welcome everybody to the Sport Aces podcast. I'm Chris Ortega. This time Bucciferro here on another episode, giving you all the sports news, man. Oh man, Tom, it's been a crazy weekend. Crazy weekend, an interesting day. You know, where should we go first? Where should we go first?
Well, I think we got to start with Mike McCarthy, That's relevant for not just you, but for, the Cowboys. That's big. That's a big that's the biggest market in football losing their coach. So,
This is where, like, before anybody who hear this, if there's any kids watching this, if there's any, body in my family seeing this post, just ignore or just scroll past it. Cause this is just me going on a Cowboys venting moment, right? And this is probably the first time Tom about to see me in this manner. The thing that pissed me off about being a Cowboys fan every year, every season, we always have high expectations because we're America's team. And the thing that really pisses me off about this Mike McCarthy being let go, one, for the owner, I respect what Jerry Jones is doing, how he brought the organization, help bring in the coach like Jimmy Johnson, get us three Super Bowls in the 90s. But that was years ago, very long time. I need him to realize nobody gives a fuck about being in the Cowboys uniform sometimes. Nobody's dying to be like, man, I really want to be a Dallas Cowboy. No, we're a shit show right now. Like, how you gonna block a coach from interviewing with a team and don't even give a reason why? You just say, oh no, we just blocking it. But then you decide to part ways before his contract expires. That don't make fucking sense. Like, why? What was the point of blocking the interview? Like, there was no fucking point. Like, I just need him to realize, and I get he don't want to let go of his GM duties because he feels like I brought the team. This is my livelihood. I get that, but sometimes it's okay to not know what the fuck you're doing and let somebody else take over. You seen what happened with the Eagles. The Eagles got GM. How we made some fucking moves to put them in a better position for the Eagles. We can't make these moves because Jerry want to be cheap. Jerry want to be last minute with a lot of shit, and then you catch the back end of like your fuck ups. You don't want to take accountability for your fuck ups. You want to place the blame on like the coaches. You want to place blame on the players, but you don't want to take ownership of your fuck ups as an owner. So going forward, I hope we get a good head coach. I hope Jerry realized you need to just take a step back. Don't need to be in the day-to-day operations. You need to stop talking to the media about every little thing because like sometimes it's not needed. And like I don't know, man. It's just like I knew that was gonna happen, but it was just like why wait all this long time and you could just save the trouble. It could have been announced that he wasn't coming back. Like beginning of January, even a month ago. Like
I mean,
it just don't make sense, man.
trust me, I know how you feel, man, with the owner not taking accountability because it's the same way with the Jets. We fired our coach mid-season, which was a terrible idea, but I mean, I think I think it's good for the Cowboys to get a reset. I mean, yeah, I also agree with yeah, Jerry should take accountability for some of the things that he's done or not done. Like, sign a running back in the offseason when I saw a post the other day, Derrick Henry has he only had like a what, $10 million, $5 million cap hit. Like that's less than like 80% or something like that of the league. Like, and he's the second best, arguably. I mean, he looked fantastic last night. So the other night. And I mean, with also with you saying nobody wants to be a cowboy, I mean that's true. It's just not an attractive place to go anymore. Like back in the 90s, like everybody wanted to go there because they were winning and they had, they just can't they haven't done anything in the playoffs since the 90s. And yeah, it's fun to like, meme and make fun of it, but it's just like at some point it's something's got to change. It's the same thing with the Jets. Like something's got to change. And it's not. I mean, McCarthy, yeah, McCarthy's not like a great coach, but he's not. I mean, he led him to 12 and 5 seasons. It's just he had the same problem with Rodgers in Green Bay. Yeah, they won a chip, but like he was never able, except for that one year, he was never able to get his team to playoff success. And I mean, there's a few. I saw a post. It was like there's already a few people that are becoming options for the Cowboys, like Jason Witten, Kellen Moore. So, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people. I mean, I feel like it's an attractive job for a head coach though. Maybe not for players to go there, but for as a head coach, it's not a bad place to go
It's
because they have a good
it's
roster.
it's not like how can I explain? It's like with the Cowboys as a brand, it's a great opportunity to be on like one of the known brands in football. It's great. It's amazing. Get that public figure identity, big market in Dallas. Great. The backlash of it is the pressure now. Like you expect to go to the Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run the minute you step foot in that stadium, in that office.
Because that's what the fans are used to. And like people that have been Cowboys fans have been like they've been fans since like it's a lot of if you go on the street like in a football city like anywhere really in the world and you go up to like people that are like 40 or 50 years old, you ask them what's your favorite team, they're gonna say the Cowboys. Because back when they were kids, back in like the 80s and 90s, the Cowboys, they were the shit. They were the best team. They had Aikman, they had Emmitt Smith, like all, and now the frustration because those people have expectations of being back in the 90s, and it's not the same anymore. They don't have the same winning culture. Yeah, they have great regular seasons, but it's the playoff winning culture just isn't there. Like no matter who they play, doesn't matter. Like even a couple years ago when y'all played Green Bay, like it's just or last was it last year? Yeah, it was last year, right? Yeah, you played Green Bay last year.
Mhm.
Yeah, even when you guys like, even when they're favorited to win, it just seems like no matter what happens, like especially against the 49ers, like they just can't. It's like it's the culture, and I think Jerry's a part of it. And I think
It's a culture where it's kind of tough to like really stand out for like a team of like being a Cowboys coach, you have a lot more pressure. And I'm trying to look for these reports about, like head coaching options. But even then, it's like how I feel, it's like with the Cowboys, and I said this before to multiple people, and people don't really want to hear me out when I say this. No matter who you put in that Cowboys uniform, they're gonna get criticized. No matter who had quarterback. You can put Josh Allen, you can put fucking Lamar Jackson in the Cowboys uniform. You know what's gonna happen? You get criticized. No matter who you put behind a quarterback, no matter who you have at wide receivers, no matter who you have coach, the identity is we either gotta be Super Bowl or bust. That's the identity that It's been created since the team been around. The 90s really made it like, oh yeah, it's a Super Bowl or bust. Then we never live up to those expectations ever again. And then it's like we can never get past the divisional round. Okay, every year we go in the division round, we gotta face Brett Favre, we gotta face Eli Manning, we gotta face Aaron Rodgers, we gotta face the 49ers. Like, I don't know what to fucking do, man. Like, I'm just tired of the consistent heartbreak. But then again, I gotta always come to the season like I'm just with no hope. Like realizing can't come in with high hopes. You gotta come in there with low expectations. That'd be
Well,
good.
well, especially now because you got two teams in that division like that are going to be competing now.
Potentially three. Because
Yeah, let's pump the brakes on the Giants. I think they got a few years. They got to
I
get their
don't
shit
know, man, because like the
because like
Giants could
you're not
make
going to.
moves to put themselves in a good position, but I see names like Steve Sarkisian, Bill Belichick being like circulating around, being the candidates. It ain't gonna really change my mind. Like, I ain't gonna be like, man, this is gonna be the great deal of all. Not really.
I mean, it's also like, do you think this is a bigger question? Do you think that Dak Prescott is really somebody that can take you there? Like he can obviously bring you to the playoffs, but can he perform and bring you to a Super Bowl? And the evidence shows that he really can't right now. So it's like, what do you do now? You already signed him to this huge deal. Like you got to stick it out. And he's not old enough to the point where you can just be like, all right, he's done. Like he's what is he, like 30, 29, something like that? Like he's still in that like sort of prime, but he's had a lot of injuries that have slowed him down. And like obviously he's got CeeDee Lamb, great receiver. He's got Brandon Cooks, who's, he's on the tail end of his career, but he's still a solid player. Like Jake Ferguson's a good tight end. Dowdle's not a bad running back either. And the O line, it's not what it used to be when they had Zeke and stuff, but and you're gonna get a decent pick in this draft. Like you'll probably be what, like not lottery, but like a little bit past lottery, like 16, 15, something like that. Because there were so many bad teams in the NFL this year, which sucks. Because normally when you're 7-9, you're or 7-10, you'll get a decent pick. But since there were so many like garbage teams, it's the NFL is like very the NFL this year was extremely top heavy, which kind of sucks for the Cowboys. But I mean, going back on your point saying that no one wants to be a Cowboy, I saw reports that Ashton Genty really wants to be a Cowboy, so he said it'd be a dream come true.
That
So
light my heart up the most. That would
yeah,
make things a little bit positive for me, knowing that we could get a potential running back in Genty, and maybe things could change. But go to answer your question about Dak Prescott. When you look at his playoff stats and the losses, it wasn't like he was horrible.
it's just the Green Bay game just put a huge
The Green Bay game may be like the biggest one that's like
that's on him.
that's on him. But like the 2016 one lost by three.
I mean, that was his rookie year, so I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, he lost by three. Then 2018 lose to the Rams in the divisional round by eight. What was his stats then? I mean, he threw for 492 yards, two touchdowns, one interception.
I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Like, and he threw for 65%. Like,
I mean,
like when
almost
you
500 yards. That's pretty good.
what's crazy is his total statistics in the playoff games is literally just he threw for almost 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, seven interceptions.
That's not bad. It's really not.
Like
And
for people
if you
who
take away the Green Bay game, if you take away the Green Bay game, he
you
doesn't have that many interceptions.
you take away that Green Bay game, what like like he's not bad, but the quarterback can only do but so much, man. Like that's what is crazy to me. And I get like people try to use like, well, he's not like this star, right? But at the same time, I would rather like I think with Dak, he's a great game manager. Am I relying on him to go to Super Bowl? I think after last season, last postseason, no. After last postseason, no. Because for that to make it to the Super Bowl, the scenario that has to happen, that means you gotta have a defense that's like top tier, like they not giving up no nothing. Like they gotta play like top tier, like they gotta be like 2000s Ravens defense. That's how you gotta play out. That Prescott to me is like Tony Romo 3.0. That's all that Prescott is to me. Do I gotta deal with him for the next couple years? Can we sign to a big deal? Yes. But I think I'm okay with it because we're gonna probably find a quarterback in another year or two. Don't know who it's gonna be, but it'd be crazy. It'd be one of these young guys that's in college right now that's going to a freshman year. Get them 2 years. Oh, might want to get this guy, you know. But um, I just know for the people who watching this, just know I'm suffering as a Cowboys fan. So everybody get their jokes, ha ha, ha ha, Chris, you a Cowboys bum. Like, I get it. I get it. That's great. It's great because the team suck. You don't have a head coach. It's great. But I don't never hear none of this shit when niggas whip y'all ass in the regular season. I don't hear none of this shit. But y'all bring up playoffs whenever y'all lose against us in the regular season. But we're gonna just see what updates we get going forward. Hopefully, I see some candidates come up for the coaching job. Hopefully, get some good candidates, and then from there, we good, man. But speaking of NFL, man, these playoffs, man. First of all, I wish we had Giselle up here. 'Cause I know she would have been celebrating and talking all her shit about the Texans really whipped
I
the
mean,
Chargers' ass. Like,
I listen. She has every right.
yeah, like it was,
Herbert was, oh man, Herbert
yeah.
was miserable.
Herbert looked like some shit. I ain't gonna lie.
He had, I think the Texans. I mean, I knew their defense was good, but they just a different level, man.
Yeah,
Like the offense was not shit though. Like the Texans offense really didn't do anything. The defense once I got the pick six and then they got the blocked field goal, like damn. The only player that the Chargers had was Lad McConkey. He went off. He had like almost 200 yards receiving, which is insane for a rookie. But that's the problem. The Chargers
yeah.
like Herbert has yet to win a playoff game in 5 years, and
But we don't fucking critique him though.
he's getting heat now.
Nah. I'm
He is
getting sick
getting
of tired of this criticism. Like, that person got this. Nah, get that same energy to these other fucking quarterbacks y'all paying over fucking 50 mil. Like, nah.
I mean Herbert, yeah,
I'm
Herbert's
on
pretty much
everybody
the same.
ass.
Like he had a great regular season, and then he just completely fell apart in the playoffs. Like I mean, to be fair to them, they had zero running attack. Like Dobbins only had like 26 yards. Like they couldn't get anything going on the ground, which forced him to throw it in Denver. I mean, Derek Stingley's he's a young star. Like that guy's he got a lot. The Texans got a lot of shit for taking him, and he wasn't great his rookie year, but he's proven to be one of the best corners. He's probably a top seven corner in the NFL.
A funny thing about the Chargers, Nightcap posted a screenshot of DJ Chark Jr. Instagram story. Had the blunt ready
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, I saw that.
I
Yeah,
was like, come on, man.
he didn't do shit either.
You ain't doing goddamn thing.
It's like they just they just looked
Man,
outmatched. Like that's I mean, granted, the Texans like still if they have any they don't really have a chance to beat Kansas City, but the only
man,
thing that they could really count on is their defense because their offense
man,
still ain't going anywhere. It still isn't doing shit.
man, he was just there stealing money, man. He was there stealing money. Then the game later that night, Ravens versus Steelers. I mean, we
All
you
I'm gonna say is
called it.
I told you, bro. I
You
told you it was gonna
called
be a
it.
good team coming.
I mean, he kind of came up in the third quarter though. Like
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They were already down 21 nothing. Like it was too little, too late. Derrick Henry was a man among boys. Nobody could
that's
stop him.
different. That's
Yeah, he set the tone. The first drive, he had 50 yards. Like they were running wildcat with Derrick Henry. Like, come on, bro.
nah,
And
man.
Lamar was just Lamar. He had to doing what he's doing all year.
Yo, Pickens post game shit had to be the funniest. Like Pickens, it need to be a study need to be made on Steelers wide receivers. Cause my God,
Well, the thing is,
the
Pickens has always been like that, though, even at
no,
Georgia.
but like think about the history of
No,
every
I know.
Steelers receiver with these egos. And the crazy thing was like you
The
could
thing
go
is, Pickens
back.
hasn't done anything in the NFL to have that type of ego yet.
Man, we see
He's
Antonio
had a couple of thousand
Brown,
yard seasons, but
Antonio Brown, Juju Smith Schuster.
Martavis Bryant,
Oh, Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool, he might be the worst.
Oh my
Might be the worst one. He had
God,
one
boy.
good game. He had one good game.
Deontay Johnson. Like, Jesus, man. The study need to be made on some of these former Steeler players, man, because this is ridiculous, man. Like, I just feel like the Ravens is like a huge threat, man, but they going against a Bills team that struggled the first half against the Broncos, but then they picked up the slack in the second half and just started dominating.
Yeah, Bo Nix started off the game, and I was like, oh, okay, this might actually be a good game. Threw a dart, and then nothing else the rest of the game. Yeah. I mean, the Bills they played right into the Bills' hands. Like second half, Bills came out, instantly scored, and then they they just couldn't do anything else. I mean, Josh Allen, that one play that set the tone was that 4th and 1 touchdown to Ty Johnson.
Yeah,
If it
that
stopped them there, they would have had maybe a chance because it would have been 13-7 instead of 21-7. But after that, it's just snowballed. Like don't get me wrong, Denver's got a good bright future though. They're gonna be good. They got a
yeah,
good.
like I can see Denver being a team that's gonna always be in the playoffs. Like they're gonna always be in the playoff contention, no matter who they have, they're gonna be in the playoffs. I think the Broncos right now, for them to be a young team with young rookie quarterback, it's good he getting this playoff experience early.
Exactly.
And then you have Sean Payton. Sean Payton is the quarterback whisperer. Like he's great with quarterbacks. So I think in time, I think we could probably see Bo Nix make a deep playoff run in the future.
It's just
Maybe.
the AFC is so stacked, man. Like,
It's tough because he's in the same division with Mahomes and Herbert. So it's
yeah.
like,
And three of those teams made the playoffs this year. So it's like
yeah,
you're
so like every year, it's like you kind of gotta get ready to know, like every season, you gotta see Mahomes twice, you gotta see Herbert twice. Depending on how the Raiders are gonna look in the future, you gotta see him twice. Then go into the playoffs. But I think it's good for them to be in that division because you kind of seeing who you might face in the playoffs if you're making a deep playoff run.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, the AFC North and the AFC West are the two strong divisions because you got Ravens, or not Browns, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers. They're perennial playoff teams, and then Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos. That's already six teams right there that are usually one of those guys are gonna have to drop out because you got two other division winners from the AFC East, which will more than likely be the Bills for the foreseeable future. And then the AFC South, I mean, the Texans have dominated that division.
and then every
The
other
Colts
team.
are the Colts like they could get a few titles in there, but I don't know. The AFC South is mid besides that.
Right now, the AFC South is like, I don't know. I'm gonna compare the NFC South like the NFC South. You just don't know how this is gonna play out for them because right now the Texans is the top dog in that division.
And they had a down year. Like
That's the crazy thing about that.
they had a down year, and they'll be back. They'll be back, and they'll be better next year. I'm sure they will.
Yeah. On to like the next game, man. The Eagles versus Packers. We all like knew this was gonna be an easy win for the Eagles.
To
Uh,
be fair, Jordan Love just he didn't have any of his guys. Like Dobbs got hurt, Watson
I
got.
love how we was talking about Jordan Love like he was like the next Joe Montana. And look at that. 3 picks. Like he looked horrible.
I mean, even I mean this. Like I said, Saquon can carry them, and he did it over 100 yards again. Like he's just
Hey,
different.
let's talk about AJ Brown taking the page out of LeBron's LeBron's
Well, they
like,
had no passing game. Jalen Hurts only had like 129 yards. If it
yeah.
think about the Eagles, like that better be their worst game of the playoffs because if they play like that against either the Rams or the Vikings, I don't know. Because obviously like those are high powered offenses, either of those teams. So they
I
can't
I
play like that.
I feel like because they beat the Rams already,
Yeah.
but for them to struggle like that with the Packers, luckily the turnovers was in their favor of their defense. Now, let's say Matthew Stafford don't throw the turnover the ball a lot. Now you kind of got really like be in the dogfight now. But I think their game is going to be coming soon. Whoever they play next is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be one of them games where they're going to have to really
Yeah.
fight to earn that win.
One
That's
of
not
those
going.
teams, either of those teams are
Yeah.
very
Then
formidable.
yeah, and then later that night, Commanders with the upset. First of
Saw
all,
that coming, bro. I was ready. I was so excited.
I
I'm
was watching the
so excited.
game. I was
I
watching
love
the
that was the
game
best
with my
game so
friends.
far. Great
It
game.
was because I'm at my friend house and my boy, shout out to my boy Eric, my boy Devin, they both Commanders fans. And we at his crib and like we just watching the game and like they've been on edge the whole time. But the hater in me was just like, I just didn't want to see him win. The hater in me was like, I'm just hating on the Commanders. Cause like right now they look great right now. And I'm at home watching it. But that field goal had me a little nervous for them. I was a little nervous because it was like if that would have fell out of the goalposts and it was no good, y'all would have lost all that momentum. But the fact that it went in, whew. But I think the play that kind of changed the tide was Baker Mayfield fumble.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That changed the tide of the
And
game.
well, not only that, there was the third and inches where they messed up the snap count. Should have had a first down. Probably would have scored a
Oh
touchdown,
my God, man.
but they just
Like,
completely fucked up the snap count.
like Baker, man.
I mean, Baker played well. He
He
was.
did, but I just feel like it's the turnovers the mental mistakes can easily cost you the game.
I mean,
And that
the Commanders didn't even play their best game. They missed a lot of opportunities. They missed a couple fourth downs. They turned the ball over on downs a couple times. But Jaden Daniels, man, he's got it in
he
him.
got a bright future. I believe that. He has
That
a
fourth
very
down
bright
touchdown in
future.
McLaurin he's got balls throwing that.
That's why I think I'm kind of glad to see like low key kind of glad seeing Terry really flourish. He has a
Oh, he had a
quarterback
great
now.
season, man.
Like this is how a receiver would look when they have a quarterback. So happy that happened, man.
Yeah, but now they got to go to Detroit, which is just like, oof, it's gonna be tough.
That's
That would be a crazy upset if that were to happen.
but before that game, I mean tonight Rams Vikings. I mean I'm gonna go with the Rams personally because I think Matthew Stafford wanna probably want to give that one last push in his
I
career.
mean, yeah, yeah. I don't know how much longer he's got left. I mean, he's got maybe 1 or 2 more years in the Rams. The Rams are always there though. Like they always find a way to sneak in. They started off the season horrible. They got Puka back, and since they've gotten him back, they've just been a different team.
Yeah, like he's gonna be good, man. I think the Rams can come out there, get this win
It
against the
just sucks that
Vikings.
they can't play in LA because of the fires and shit.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing. But like they in Arizona, which is very funny because you know how Arizona's been very nice to them. I'm like, look at y'all. Look at the love, man.
I mean, I don't know, dude. This was the one game on the slate where I couldn't really decide on a winner. I mean, obviously, I was wrong on the Texans game. I think everybody was wrong on that game,
I
but
can't go against Stafford though. I think because to me,
yeah,
I think
it's just
Stafford
tough.
is
I
one of
don't know.
those guys he can find a way to win.
I think
Like,
I think I think the Vikings gonna edge it out. I don't know. It's so tough. I don't know who to pick. Like I get like either of those teams would be a great matchup for the Eagles. So it's like I don't know. I mean, obviously the Rams have more playoff experience, but I'd like to see Sam Darnold succeed as a former Jet. Take him somewhere. I mean, the Vikings they're like the Bills. They've been to Super Bowl 4 times. Just can't get over the hump. I want to see a new team win the Super Bowl.
nah,
Yeah,
man, I think the Rams are going to edge it out by three, man.
I respect it.
But on to next week's this upcoming weekend games. 4:30, Chiefs versus Texans, man.
I mean, that's gonna be. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
just
we
don't see
already
how.
we already seen Chiefs beat them
I
before,
don't see a
so
way that the Texans win, but I said that last week and they won. So I mean,
it's
obviously,
just
I'd love to see the Texans move on. I just don't think it's realistic.
that would be an amazing. That'd be a crazy upset for
Yeah,
CJ
at home if
Stroud
they
to beat
lose, if
Mahomes.
they lose at home, I don't know. They just don't lose at home. Chiefs don't lose at home in the playoffs. They just don't.
Yeah, it's just that home field. It's like it's tough.
And they've had 3 weeks of rest because they didn't play. They didn't play last week. They're not playing this. They didn't play this week, so they got 3 weeks
Most of
of
the guys are gonna be healthy. So,
yeah.
but
I'm going
then
Chiefs, and I don't think it's gonna be close either.
Lions versus Commanders.
As much as I would love to see the Commanders move on, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Commanders go to the NFC Championship game. It's gonna be nuts,
I think if the Commanders beat the Lions, I think they're going to the Super Bowl
bro,
because they could beat the
bro,
Eagles.
bro.
Already seen it.
If that really happens, oh
That'd be
my God,
storybook. That would just be storybook.
that
That's
story.
that's the best story in the league if that happens.
That's a document. We need to make that documentary happen right now.
If that happened, yeah,
Dane
that
Daniels documentary need to happen. If he goes to Super Bowl, he need a documentary. After a year removed of just winning the Heisman, and now you're not Super Bowl,
and
that's
then bringing a
crazy.
4-13 team to the Super Bowl last year, like
That's fucking nuts.
I don't like I said, don't think it'll happen. I think the Lions will probably handle them. The Lions just have an all around just juggernaut team. The only
Yeah.
thing is their defense is a little iffy right now, but I think I think it'll be a closer game than we expect. I don't think I'm
I
gonna
I, I I feel you because I feel like we're probably looking at it like, oh, we don't think
Commanders are
that
riding the
could
hype train
happen.
right now, man.
Yeah, like we probably looking at it like, oh, this they're gonna get blown out. But it's like, do we think there's gonna be a real blowout?
No, I don't. I personally don't. I think it's gonna be a close game. I hope it is at least. I'd love a close game. It's just all going to depend on how the Commanders defense can handle Ben Johnson's schemes because he's been able to dominate pretty much every team he's seen besides the Bills. So, and even against the Bills, like they still put up 40 as their defense couldn't do shit.
Definitely, definitely. But another game, depending on who win between Rams and Vikings, go against the Eagles. Got to travel to Philly. I
Tough
think
environment, man. Tough environment.
Philly going to the NFC Championship
Again, yeah. I mean,
because
I don't know. If it's the if it's the Vikings, I think it'll be a lot easier for the Eagles, but if it's the Rams, it'll be closer than people think.
the then the last game of the slate, the Bills versus the Ravens.
Ravens, bro, I'm telling you, man, they're going Super Bowl. They're I'm telling you, man. I don't
It's
know.
really tough because
It's gonna be a great game,
I can see Josh Allen's like easily get this win,
but I
low
can also
key. Like I can
Lamar,
see him like sneak away with this win. But I feel like Lamar has been on the fucking path to try to like go back and face Mahomes again.
yeah, they need revenge, man.
Like he want Mahomes, and the Bills just in their way.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like ride Derrick Henry to the Super Bowl. That's all you got to do. And then Lamar will make throws when he needs to, and he'll run when he needs to. I
Yeah,
don't know, man. I don't see anybody stopping the Ravens in the AFC. Even the Chiefs. I think that they beat the Chiefs if they have to. So
nah, indeed, indeed. What else, man? But yeah, man, that's the slate for this NFL playoffs. Hopefully, I'm invited to somebody, Super Bowl party because I'm definitely gonna get some alcohol and good food in me
oh
if
yeah.
that happens. Um, oh, another great thing that happened that's gonna be happening after the NFL playoffs in division round. We got the college football national title. OSU,
Right.
Ohio State versus Notre
We
Dame.
haven't done a podcast since then, have we?
I mean, we briefly talked about the games, but we was just saying like storybooking and wise, I was like Notre Dame should win it all. Storybook wise, amazing story. We love Notre Dame. Oh my God. Somebody playing Rudy in the background. A lot of emotions. But Ryan Day has so much to prove this year. And I think him winning a national title would kind of erase that, oh, he should get fired overall.
1 second.
Like, he should get fired immediately.
Oh yeah.
That that's the crazy thing about it. So
Well, I
it's
mean, yeah, like you said, Notre Dame. I mean, they played extremely well against Penn State. They fourth quarter was electric. I watched that fourth quarter. It was great. I actually won some money on that game too, so it's pretty nice. But
it's been a bad weekend for me.
oh yeah, no, the
Bets.
playoff slate
Yeah,
was not
it
good,
was
but the hey Notre Dame clutched up for me. But besides the point, I don't know. I mean, Ohio State comes in as a heavy favorite.
it's
If
because
they,
when you look at the roster
yeah, it's
at
a
each
roster difference.
position, it's like quarterback,
Will Howard.
Will Howard. Running backs, I'm about to go Ohio State running backs.
Henderson and Judkins, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man.
Shout out to Henderson because he a Virginia guy. Hopewell, Virginia.
Henderson's tough, man. I mean,
Receivers,
Jeremiah
Javon
Love ain't
Smith.
nothing to scoff at, bro. Jeremiah Love's tough. That hurdle he had again, that was
Yeah, but look, man, I ain't going against Jeremiah Smith. That's going to be a challenge.
He got locked up against Texas though. Got locked up. He had
That
not.
because like Texas defensive backs, as much shit I give about like them winning the Thorpe Award, I think one of the DBs won it, I believe. As much shit I give about the Thorpe Award should went to Travis Hunter. Texas DBs was not no slouch. They actually pretty fucking good,
No, they are.
to be honest. And it's crazy because they
I
said
think
tickets as low as
I think Texas, bro. I think they should have played Arch. I mean
he's
Quinn.
the man. He's the man now. So
He is. I mean Quinn's gonna be gone. He's either going to the league or he's going somewhere else. So,
now he going to the league.
oh, he is.
He
Why?
said he's going to go to the draft. He
Yeah,
ain't.
that's smart for his career. I mean, he'll probably get drafted somewhere, probably late pick, but he's just not. I think Texas was better suited with Arch. And next year they're going to be. They have a number one recruiting class, so they'll be
Nah,
back. Texas will be
that
back
Texas is definitely going to be a team that's going to come back in the college football
in the
playoffs.
next. I think next year's college football playoff is going to be. I mean, obviously this year people were a little upset about the first round because it wasn't great, to be fair. But I think next year it'll be good because I think the SEC. They had a down year. Alabama with three losses. Like Georgia wasn't. I mean, obviously they made the playoff, but they weren't the same Georgia that we've seen the past 4 or 5 years. And then let's see, Ole Miss was right there and they couldn't make it. So I think next year's playoffs gonna be it'll be good.
You know what team I really hope make the college football playoffs? I really want South Carolina.
Bro, they were good, man. They got Sellers he's young. He'll be there next year.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a good team.
Like it's so many teams in the SEC that can surprise like everybody next season. Like I would love to see like how like
I mean,
certain
Miami
teams.
too.
Indeed, like it's so many teams where it's like I wonder how they're gonna play out going to that next year.
I wonder how Florida State's going to be, man, because they're usually a dominant powerhouse and they had a terrible season. So I want to see how they bounce back.
I
Florida too.
was
Florida's got a young quarterback.
I want to see how Michigan do. You know,
Yeah, they got Bryce Underwood. So and
yeah,
five
like
star.
you getting
And
him,
that's probably their best quarterback they've had in a minute. So
yeah, like high rated too. Like I want to see how Oregon gonna look.
without
Man,
Gabriel, that'll be interesting.
like can Indiana keep this same success going to that next year? You know, can Penn State elevate? Cause Drew coming back, so it's like, can they go back to the college football playoffs? Lincoln
It's
Riley, can USC get back to glory?
yeah, man. They were they were so high on um what was his name? I can't remember his name. Miller Moss. They were so high on him and he just didn't perform as
I,
expected. LSU too. Don't forget about LSU. LSU.
they're like a quiet team that like I feel like with LSU is like a quiet good team. Like they're quietly in the picture still.
Yeah, I mean LSU's they always have a chance with wide receivers, so
Yeah, like it's I'm excited to see how this is gonna play out because I'm gonna be honest. You know who I think might be my surprise in winning getting into college football playoff next year?
who?
I would love to see. I would love to see Colorado get into college football playoffs one time. Just one time.
Yeah, I mean obviously their best shot was with Shador and Travis, but I mean if Dion's already got some pretty good recruits landing for next year, so we'll see. I
You
mean that'd be
got
sick. That'd be cool. Because
I
Colorado
mean,
was a terrible program not even 2 years ago, so
Yeah, I mean, because like how I look at it is like they just had a first team meeting recently, like a day yesterday, and you have the transfer coming in, Caden Salter, and you have Julian Lewis, one of
Yeah,
your
so who's
top
gonna win that
quarterbacks.
quarterback battle? So
So it's kind of like maybe, but I gotta see how the Big 12 play out. But that's a conference I'm not sure about. Miami, of course, like you mentioned, you know, must be
Clemson
the
too.
money. Four
Clemson.
mil NIL.
Yeah, I can't believe they gave him that much money. It's ridiculous.
Look, man, I ain't judging them. I
Well,
feel like
they saw because he was going to go to the draft, but then apparently he saw his comparisons and he was like, "Fuck that! I'm going back to college." I was like,
because he because at first in the beginning of the season
he was number one. He was
he
supposed to
was
go.
number one, but the table fucked him up. He was having a decent amount of gains. Like he was okay, and then you start seeing your peers that was like dominating and shit.
Well, Carson Beck didn't perform against actual good opponents. He only performed against subpar, inferior opponents.
And like his performance wasn't like eye opening, like, man, this guy is like NFL ready. It wasn't like I was feeling like that for him.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had 28 TDs and 12 picks, which it's not a terrible stat line, but when you're supposed to be the number one pick, that's not acceptable, man.
It just tells you, man, like
The pressure definitely got to him for sure. It had to have.
I think it's because you were supposed to be the guy that leads your team straight to the college through the college football playoffs. Cause you're Georgia. Supposed to just run through the shit. But then you went down and you see everybody talking about Gunner, like he's the fucking man now. You just the man of yesterday. And Miami had a better situation because Cam Ward is out. You can come in being the new guy there. Your girl's there. So
We'll see. We'll see how he does. Miami obviously they'll probably get some good recruits. Another thing about Georgia this year, they lost Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey to the draft. So obviously they didn't have like
they
their two
didn't. They didn't have
playmakers.
no receivers. That was like
Yeah. So and then Lovett, Dominic Lovett's a good uh no, who's their tight end? Lovett's a receiver, but they had their tight end is good that they had there.
well,
He's
the number 14th
yeah.
ranked recruiting class. I mean, they're getting the number six ranked, the number six ranked in his position at running back from Florida. Um,
They had Travis Etienne's brother, Trevor, but he
yeah.
had he had a lot of issues. He was like getting in trouble and all that shit. So it's like he'll probably I don't know if he's going to the draft or not, Trevor, but he should probably stay another year if I was him, if he could.
I mean, the good thing about the U, they're getting a good player coming from the portal, CJ Daniels from LSU. So like he's gonna have a weapon that's gonna be like, oh yeah, he's gonna eat, but is it gonna be like, man, I'm like hype about it? I mean, it's cool.
I mean, he is going to a weaker football conference in the ACC. So, they're still going to have to play probably Clemson. Louisville's a good football team. They were good this year. You're going to have to play FSU if they're back to where they were. I doubt it, but you
It's
never
gonna
know.
take time. It's gonna take
Yeah.
time. It's gonna take time for Florida State to find their identity again. But Syracuse wasn't bad at all. Georgia Tech,
Kyle McCord, he played really well this year.
yeah, man. I know that Syracuse coach was like, I was happy why they gave him to us.
Because he got a lot of shit for Ohio State last year and they didn't win.
I'm gonna give you my underdog team for next year's ACC conference, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they got. Yeah, Hey, man, I agree. They got a good squad. Their quarterback's good.
Virginia Tech is going to be like the team that's definitely going to shock a lot of people.
No, I agree. I mean, I think also, this isn't ACC, but Kansas. They may have been their record didn't show, but they beat a lot of good teams near the end of the season. Like Colorado, they manhandled them. I think Devin Neal's going to the draft, and
Hmm.
Jalen Daniels, I'm not sure if he's staying or not, but I mean, yeah, they were subpar in terms of their record, but they beat good opponents. So I
Oh,
think, yeah, and then Kansas State with Avery Johnson too. Avery Johnson's Will Howard's replacement. He's young, he'll learn, and
and
he's
they got
gonna
Dylan
break.
Edwards in the backfield too.
Yeah. So there's a
It,
lot of there's a lot of teams that can make a run.
oh, 100%. It's going to be interesting how this season, how this next college football season going to play out because now it's like we don't know what could happen now the way this season play out.
Well, yeah,
So
you have to think about the non-power five teams too, because they get a guaranteed playoff spot now. And Boise State's losing their best player. So they're not going to be. I mean, Boise State they'll get their recruits. Obviously, they'll still be a good Mountain West team, but
man,
there's definitely some other low conference teams that could make it.
I think that what in my opinion, I think Boise State is going to have the season how TCU had. They was in the playoffs. The next season,
No,
like
I agree.
down year, because like that's just like a flash in the pan. That's why I think some teams is going to be like that flash in the pan team where they're there, but they were just a flash in the pan. So, but
Well, yeah. I mean, do I think a Power Five team can win the national title? Absolutely not. Or a non-Power Five team can win the national title? No. I mean, especially now, like they're gonna have Boise State's changing conferences. They're going to a bigger conference now.
no,
So
no, they bringing back the Pac-12,
yeah, they're going back to the Pac-12.
which
So it's
is
like
which I'm happy because I ain't gonna lie, it felt weird not having a
yeah,
Pac-12
so
this year.
it's technically a Power Four. So it's like,
Yeah, so it's like no Pac-12, like
but now the Big Ten is gonna be bigger. Big 12 is bigger. It's like, and then Texas moved to the SEC, so it's like and they dominated their first year. So I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure. I'm excited. I watched a lot more college football this year than any other year. So
yeah. I think this year I was more invested in the college football because that every week I knew some could crazy could happen. And I think now it's like after watching how this season played out, it's like, man, this is like now like I legit am excited to see this next season go out now. Cause now certain teams about to look different now. Like Colorado gonna look different. Georgia gonna look different. Alabama could redeem itself. It's just so much that can happen going forward where it's like only we can determine how it's gonna be, man.
exactly.
But other than that, man, um, you know, to conclude this episode, hopefully, man, I talked to our guy Kenny, by the way, man, and let me tell you, he's been busy getting ready for pro day and stuff. So hopefully we get him up here, T Mile up here as well. Try to get everybody up here, man. People been like low key wanting to get up on the pod, man. So if you reach out to us, definitely reach out to us. I know we had some fan questions today. I mean, it was just the questions we already answered, which was basically who we think is going to win the divisional rounds, you know. And the last one was, is the Commanders the best team in the NFL right now? In my opinion, I don't think they are. this weekend can show us if they are, but that's just me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're definitely a fun team, but they're not the best team.
Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen next? But for everybody watching, keep subscribing. Make sure you press that notification so you can get all everything about ring that bell so you can get all notifications for our episodes. My name is Chris Ortega,
Tom Bucciferro.
and you are done watching the Sport Aces podcast. See you next week.